The YouTube. Quinn Wade comes out with that instant hot topic analysis on Analysis Playground on YouTube forever, of course. Let's talk about Tiago Splitter. We knew that the Bulls was looking for a head coach not that long ago, and it was mainly because Billy Donovan chose to leave, and they had to fill the position. And we knew that Monday was the day that they was targeting to get the head coach position filled for their organization. And now we know exactly who it's going to be, and that's Tiago Splitter. And he's really, really good when it comes to understanding and knowing how to break down a game of basketball. Not only that, he just coached the Blazers, which made it to the playoffs and looked really good on both ends of the court. You also got to give credit to the GM for making some moves to be able to put some pieces together to be able to compete. At the same time, most people thought the Blazers was going to be tanking last year, but instead they put some veterans on the roster. They ended up having a good amount of young talent as well, and Tiago Splitter knew how to run it. He knew how to get everybody where they needed to be and get the best out of his teammates, his coaching staff, and his team. And it ended up working out for him, when it comes to success and being able to accomplish something that a lot of people didn't think that they can do, which was making the playoffs. Although they did get beat pretty handily by the Spurs, they also was competitive a lot throughout that series and also didn't get swept. So it showed you that the man knew what he was doing. It showed that he understood how to run a team, and he knew how to, you know, coach at a high level. And it wasn't a surprise for people that's been following the NBA, because he's been in smaller roles besides being the head coach, which is going to be his first opportunity doing it for an entire season, because people forget Chauncey Billups got in some trouble with gambling, and that allowed Tiago to be a head coach for a majority of the season for the Blazers. And he overachieved, some people would say, with that roster, but he figured it out. He knew it would work, and he knew how to help the team function properly with all the injuries they also had throughout the years. They didn't use that as an excuse not to have a good season. And that's something that you have to like about him as a coach, is that he was able to figure it out. He was able to continue to put the work in to get the best out of his team, and he didn't use those excuses as a way to fuel, Chauncey Billups not being there. He was showing you that we still have enough to compete, we have enough to win with, so let's just go out there and try to see what we can be and what we can do. And it was just a really good thing to see him be able to shine, this entire past season. And now he gets his own team. He gets an organization that believes in him, an organization that's behind him. And now they also do it before the NBA draft, so that way he can understand what they're trying to keep and what they're trying to move on from and what they're trying to get in, so he can build a culture in Chicago and try to win there. And they haven't won since the 90s, since Michael Jordan was there. And they're trying to change that, hopefully, with Tiago Splitter, is what they feel is a young coach for coaching standards and age. And he still show you that he can get the job done at a high level. And now they just have to put the right roster behind him. And that's the best way to reward him after you feel like he was good enough through his interviews and as a coach. And, it makes sense, and it always has, to go with the guy, go with the gut feeling that you think is going to be good enough for you at the start. And since they're starting their rebuild last year and last season, when they started trading some of their younger guys and some of their veteran guys, it made sense that they was going in this direction. And it's good to have a guy that's new, but also wants to learn and wants to grow and wants to develop, and he can do it alongside these young guys in Chicago. So I think that will also be fun. But they knew that Tiago was one of the last four guys that can get the spot here in Chicago. They also had interviewed Wes Onset Jr. They also interviewed Ryan Smith, and they also did Minnesota's Timberwolves assistant coach Micah Nori. And then they felt that Splitter was the guy that was going to replace Billy Donovan in that coaching spot, and now we know it's official. So I'm not really surprised that Tiago Splitter was getting some serious interest as a head coach because of what he did this last previous season. But I just feel like it was fast that he became a head coach, and it wasn't the Blazers on top of that. You would think the Blazers would want to keep him as a head coach, but they ended up letting him go to the Bulls. You got to do what's best for you. The organization is going to do that. So he has to have the same thing in mind for himself as a free agent coach, really. Not only that, it is interesting because the Blazers finished with a 42-40 record and finished as the 7th seed in the Western Conference, even though their roster was also beat up and tore up throughout the entire regular season. But that's something that you just want to see when he gets the talent in Chicago. Can he at least bring them similar success, if not higher? I mean, at the end of the day, you are in the East, but the East is getting tough. And a lot of talent is coming to the East because people want to get paid. People want to prove themselves, and it's getting to a point where it makes sense for them to have an expansion draft because there's just so much talent out there in this world when it comes to basketball, and you want to have as much good players as you can in the NBA to make the games more exciting and more fun and more interesting. And that's something that has been going on for the last 5 years is that guy ain't in the league. People asking why isn't some of these guys not in the league? And all you can say is it's a business. They want the young guns. They want the guys that can give them the most benefits, the guys that can help them get the most wins. And a lot of the time it is the mid-age guys in their prime, or guys that overachieve as young players. And you have to get them guys now. And the only reason why I say that because the draft is coming up, and the Bulls do have some good picks, and they are having another chance and another swing at rebuilding and trying to be a really good team within a first couple years of their rebuild. And it's good that they understand that this is a move that they had to make now. Why waste time trying to figure it out the hard way when you can just evaluate the best candidates and just pick the one that you feel that can help you the most, and then he can learn along the way. So that's the biggest news, of this morning, of the day, is Tiago Splitter is officially a head coach in the league, not an interim coach, no more for the Blazers. He's going to be the coach for the Bulls. We don't know how many years that he's going to get on his contract. We don't really know how much money he's going to get paid either. But what we do know is that he was the guy that they wanted the most. Bryson Graham also was a guy that just was hired not that long ago as the executive vice president of basketball operations. And he felt like this was the right move for the organization and for the team. And I would probably agree with it. I feel like Tiago's proved enough, showed enough, did enough to win me over, to give him a shot, to give him an opportunity, to give him a chance. It was some good coaches still left over. So maybe you look at other teams, it's another team that doesn't have a head coach right now. Maybe, now that Tiago Splitter is off the board, you just look at it and you say, maybe we just pick for what they didn't get and we just go all in with that coach. Most of the spots are filled at this point, if not all of them. And the Bulls was really just the last one that had to make the decision of who they wanted to get and who they wanted to go, to war with when it comes to organization and the players and the head coaching staff and the assistant staff. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what goes on. And it's going to be fun to watch the Bulls try to get back to the top of the mountain and try to win a championship. People have been telling me, Quinn, watch out for the Bulls. Once we get this pick, once we do this, when we do that, we're going to be good all over again. We have a shot, of being a great team. And I'm looking at the roster. I'm looking at the players that they can add. I'm looking at what they can do in free agency. And they should be back in the playoffs sooner than later if things go right and the guys develop and the team stays healthy. I don't know if they're going to be a team that can win a championship. I got to see who they pick. I got to see how they put the roster together. But I like the steps and the things they're doing right now with their moves and with their decision-making of who should be in and what positions that they should get. And I feel like they're picking some guys that I would pick myself to hire in these spots. And now it's about personnel. Now you got all the other stuff figured out basically. Now you got to figure out the personnel to go to war with to be able to win a title since the 90s. So we'll see if they can get it done. We'll see what happens with that. Other than that, comment, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell to get the analysis when it first comes out. Thank y'all for the love. Thank y'all for the support. Thank y'all for continuing to watching the content and liking it for what it is on this channel and just being a fan of it. Other than that, I love y'all. Thank y'all for showing the love to me and my channel and the work that I put in. Not only that, y'all stay blessed up. Y'all stay good. Peace. And I'll see y'all probably later today or tomorrow with more analysis. And other than that, I'm going for now.